Okie dokie, boys and girls, it is day 59 of Calisthenics Endurance. We have a shoulder workout, and I want to address a little comment I got on my previous shoulder day, which is, Timmy, I want to train the planche, but I'm afraid of injury, right? How do I avoid injury in the planche? And well, my answer is very simple. When it comes to training planche, everyone thinks about, chasing the progression, chasing the straddle planche, chasing the full planche, and trying to reach it, right? And as if it's the only reason you should train the planche. But when you think about other exercises, are you never gonna train pull-up if you're not gonna aim for 100 kilo pull-up, a weighted pull-up, right? Or are you never gonna train dips if you're not aiming for 150 kilo dips? Are you never gonna squat if you don't aim for a 200 kilo squat? No, you still squat. You squat because squatting is fun, you dip because dipping is fun, you pull up because pulling up is fun, right? Even if you're not doing the heaviest stuff like professional athletes, right? You're just doing it because, hey, perhaps doing some volume is fun, the movement is fun, right? And you're getting great gains for it, even if you're not doing it at the top level. And it's the same for full planche, right? You can still train the planche if you're not going for full planche, and that will reduce your risk immensely. It's the greatest way to reduce the injury risk. And so, for example, if you're training the full planche, instead of chasing the full planche, you can just train planche because it gives you a good shoulder burn, and you can do it in the lean planche or in the tuck planche, and you can stay at the progression and increase the volume. You can do it for more reps. You can hold longer times. Try and do a lean planche for 30 seconds. Your shoulders will burn immensely. Try to do lean planche push-ups for 30 reps. Your shoulder will, it will die, right? You will feel such a good burn, and at the same time, the intensity of that exercise is kind of low, right? The planche is a high risk exercise because it's heavy, it's intense, right? You're going into a full planche, especially when you're just unlocking it, you're gonna hold it for perhaps a second or two, right? It's maximum load on your entire system, on your tendons. But if you reduce that load and you just train the full planche, guess what? Not only is it gonna be safe, you're gonna be feeling that burn on your muscles and your tendons in a healthy way, but also because you allow your body to have that time under tension, if you do it for a long period of time, the gains are gonna come to you. You're gonna get stronger, you're gonna adapt. And so instead of chasing full planche, instead of chasing those progressions, right? Do it as you would train your dip, your squat, your pull up, right? Don't chase progression, but just try to do a bit more volume. And in that way, just like when you're doing pull up volume or dip volume, you will be able to do weighted dips as well, right? When you're chasing volume on a lower progression in the planche, your body will adapt and you will become stronger, and you will start to be able to do harder progressions naturally, right? You'll get to a point where perhaps you're doing hundreds of reps in the planche push-ups or in the lean planche push-up, or in the planche hold, the lean planche hold, you're doing hundreds of seconds. At that point, your body is just gonna beg for something more intense. And that's when you can move on to the next progression. Just like when you're doing dips, right? You're doing, like, I'm doing it at body weight mostly right now, right? And I'm doing 100 reps in a workout, hundreds of reps in a workout. Eventually, if I try to keep my workout short, my body's gonna be like, hey, Timmy, you're trying to keep your training within 30 minutes, but you're doing 500 plus reps each session. How about we add five kilos, right? I never trained to add those 5 kilos, or even 10 or 20 or 30, right? I never trained for it, but because I was focusing on that volume, the low risk stuff, my body naturally adapted and was started to be able to do it. With the planche, lean planche is very low risk, right? If you keep doing that, your tendons will adapt, your muscles will adapt, and eventually your body's gonna be like, hey, a tuck planche, that's peanuts. We can aim for volume on a tuck planche, right? And it's kind of the opposite way of thinking, but I think this way of training the planche is gonna be, is gonna bring you the lowest risk of injury. And perhaps even more so than, shooting for that full planche as quickly as possible, but then also, like, doing your stretching, of course, and doing the warm up. Like, those warm up and the stretching are great, but if you're trying to chase something you're not ready for, well, it's gonna be risky, right? And so I would just say stay at a lower progression for a longer time. Don't rush things, right? Full planche is not the end goal. So that's what I would say as an advice. I guess my answer became kind of long, but anyway, it's time for my shoulder workout. I'm gonna train the planche. I'm gonna do straddle planche instead of full planche, so also a lower progression. It's not that low of a progression that I'm just able to bang out, tens and hundreds of reps, but still it's lower than the full planche. And I'm gonna try to aim for some volume. So last time I did 15 sits every minute on the minute, so a 15-minute EMOM workout. And basically I got 15 sets of 5, which is 75 reps. Today I want to try and beat it with 80. 80 is going to be the goal. So I'm going to do 5 sets of 6 and then 10 sets of 5 to try and get to 80. And we'll see how that happens. I did some warm-up sets already in the planche press, feeling kind of tired for some reason, but it'll work out. We'll get there. So I'm gonna get started. I'll see you in 15 minutes. Whew. Okie dokie. That was a tough one. 80 reps done. Shoulders are feeling fatigued. It's like I said, I'm not chasing the full planche. Trying to get that one better at the moment. My legs are feeling quite heavy at all times from the leg workouts I'm doing, so I'm just happy chasing other PRs or chasing other progress in lower progressions. For me, the straddle planche, although this is feeling quite heavy as well, I must say, perhaps I need to drop down to an even lower progression, but for the moment, this was very fun. It was stronger than last time. And next time I will be trying it again, so that's the most important part. But yeah, shoulders, forearms, biceps, all feeling healthy, and that's the most important part. Now, what I did notice during those push-ups is I very quickly was sapped from the ability to hold the planche at the top after my push-ups, which is something I don't want, because that's actually the most difficult position. So what I'm gonna do for my finisher set is just one single max hold to finish off the workout, like I said. Let's go. Okie dokie. When the Akatsuki team from Naruto is playing, that's about the time to do a max planche hold. It wasn't too long, obviously, because I had done 80 push-ups previously, but rather than looking at the length of that set, I'm very happy with the intensity, going from the full planche, drops it into the straddle, pushing every last ounce I had to carry that shift of weight and then holding a few more seconds. Very happy with how that went. Very happy with how today's workout went, because guess what? We are uninjured. And when it comes to planche, don't fixate on the full planche only, just the full planche is a great movement, not because it looks cool, but because it is a great stimulus for your shoulders, your biceps, and well, your tendons as well, if you do it in the proper way, if you let your tendons adapt. And so for me, even if you're just doing the lean planche, it's the king of all pushing movements. If you master, training with the planche, any progression, you will get stronger at all other pushing movements in calisthenics as well. Push-ups, dips, handstand push-ups, and even gym exercises like, shoulder press and the bench will become stronger just because of this movement, whether you get the full planche or not. So don't be afraid to pull back the intensity and do some more volume, because you're gonna get stronger anyway, and you're gonna do it in a more safe manner that way. So that's gonna be it for today's workout. Tomorrow is gonna be legs. Oh, my legs are still feeling a little bit sore. And tomorrow I have a big workout planned, so we'll see what happens. I'll see you tomorrow. Very exciting.